Women, pets, and children are the only things that get unconditional love. But let a man not do what a man is supposed to do, and let's see just how long they get that same kind of love. All right, so when you first brought up this subject to me, it had me really thinking about what it is that I could do and not do and still be loved the same way, right? For example, I'm the man of the house. If I wasn't the protector, like whenever someone hears a bump in the night in the home and I'm not the one checking it, would they still love me the same, right?
Start changing.
If I wasn't the person that was helping make sure that all these bills and stuff get paid, would I be loved the same? If I was not like not being the breadwinner, not saying a man has to be, but in most cases, that's what's expected, right?
Yes, it is what's expected, and it is ideal because most women, when they are the breadwinners, they're not so good.
Well, but that's what brings me to the topic. Like when we first were talking about this and stuff, I was like, shit, it's true that like if we're not doing what we're expected to do as men, we don't get loved the same, right?
Nope.
A dog gets loved just for being a fucking dog.
Just a dog. You're a pet. Love you. Play your role.
95% of the time, if you're the child, you're loved just because you're a fucking child by at least one of the two parents, right?
Yeah. A parent will go to war just because you're their bloodline. Even though you might be a fucking shitty kid. They don't care. That's my kid. You don't talk to my kid like that.
Yep.
You know?
And while, even my wife, for example, she'll clean. We kind of split duties when it comes to cooking. Mm-hmm. But when something breaks in this house, who you think fixes it?
Yeah.
Me.
Not the Ghostbusters.
Right? Now, if I wasn't the one fixing it, is she going to look at me the same? Is she going to love me the same? Is it eventually going to wear thin and she's going to be like, you know what? I don't need this. Where does the unconditional love come from for men?
There is no such thing. And it's crazy because there's people out on the internet right now, a lot of women, and they're trying to debate this, and there's no fucking debate at all. And it's sad because us as men, we understand that. We know that. We already know, like, if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that's why us men, we take our health serious. We go to the gym, keep our physique right. We always worried about our money, keep our money right, because we understand the moment I start slipping, I may gain fucking 25 pounds and get fat. Oh, she looking at me kind of like, this slob, what's going on? Like, this ain't the man I fell in love with.
Right.
Or the moment, the finances start getting a little fucked up and things get a little serious and a little tight, and now you got to, be a little frugal. It wasn't like this when we got together. That's not why I got with you.
Right.
And it becomes a problem. And once it starts becoming a problem, they start viewing you different. And that's just what it is. But again, as men, we accept that because we know that. So that's why we're always making sure we're on our P's and Q's and doing what we have to do. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's been that way forever.
Do you think that something that kind of plays a factor into this is the fact that there are so many different double standards when it comes to men and women?
That can be the case. But mainly, we got our lane and they got their lane.
Yeah, but today's society, like, how do you determine what lane is which?
The lanes have been the same lanes for a long time, and we have people now that's coming with this extra bullshit and trying to say that we're equal. Listen, we ain't fucking equal. Because if we was equal, the next time a nigga run up to snatch your purse, deal with it on your own then. If we was equal. Don't look at me as the man and be like, what the fuck you doing?
Right.
We equals. Handle that.
I'll give you an example of why equality between men and women is complete bullshit. All right? Just an example. And this goes for a man doing what a man's supposed to do, right? By our nature.
It's biology.
Let's say for the female viewers, let's say if we were out in the fucking safari and we were trying to find our way back to civilization and we come face to face with a lion, you mean to tell me you're not going to expect me to try and fend off the lion so that way you can run to safety?
That's an unwritten rule,
right? Because if we were truly equals and everything applied, well, guess what?
Every man for himself.
95% of men are going to run faster than the women.
Like I said, every man for himself.
You got some women that are some track stars, but I'm sorry, I've been around enough women in my fucking time. In my 38 years on this earth, I've been around enough women. I've seen enough women athletes to know that even not being an athletic motherfucker myself, I'm out running half you bitches. More than half. Sorry. And I don't mean to call y'all bitches. I'm sorry. I digress. But I'm just saying, I'm just putting that as an example. Yeah. If it was a fair ground equality and you say, yeah, no, fuck it, we're equals. Let's see how long it takes before I'm gone out of sight and you're fucking lion food.
Like I said, there is no equals. This is not an equal playing field at all. Okay. If a man sees a chick and he finds her attractive, he gonna talk to her.
Right.
And if he's trying to take it to the next step, he's gonna talk to her and plan to take it to the next step.
Courting stage.
You know, no ifs, ands, or buts. He's not gonna be what kind of job you got, what's your income, you know. And women look at us, they got all these qualifications. We got to check like 15, 20, 30 boxes before we can get in the door.
We have to be a certain height. Right. We have to have a certain physique. We have to have a certain amount of income. Meanwhile, you look at them, that's not their right boob size. They've had implants. Yeah. That's not their eye color. They wear contacts.
Yep, that's not their face.
Those aren't their eyebrows. That's not their face because they wear makeup.
But they don't get disqualified for this.
That's not their hair. They fucking have extensions or they have colors.
And then they have the audacity to blame us.
Right.
I didn't tell you to put that shit on. I'd rather you be natural.
Look,
y'all in competition with each other. That's why y'all wear that stuff. But it's okay.
Honestly, some of the most beautiful women I've ever come in contact with in my life are the ones that have had the most minimal amount of makeup on ever.
Definitely.
Where they do just enough just to not look like they just rolled out of fucking bed and that was it. Take care of themselves. Exactly. They do their hair. That's it. And they just put on whatever minimum shit.
Again.
So they don't look like a slob.
We have to check a dozen boxes to just possibly get a date.
But again, and that brings me back to the fucking point of what we were initially talking about on this episode is that we have to have certain amount of criteria, certain amount of fucking things that we're supposed to just so many expectations.
And I know a lot of y'all chicks out there is going to say, oh, I've been with this type of dude or this bum dude, and I took care of the bills for X amount of time. Yeah, but I want to ask you this simple question. Are you still with him? And y'all are in the same position? Because I guarantee y'all not. Because most likely you had a timeline. Like the clock started. Once shit went downhill and you had to pay everything and be the breadwinner, the clock started.
You had conditions
and your love. He had to meet that deadline. Once that deadline ran out, you was out the door. Because you know what? I'm not doing this. I'm not taking care of no nigga. That's what y'all say. And I get it. Nothing wrong with it. But on the flip side, stay in your lane as well. We have our lanes. They're there for a reason. There is no equality. Quit it. Stop lying to yourself. You guys want equality when it benefits you, but then when it doesn't benefit you, you don't. For example, when they came out and they started talking about possibly having a draft and they included y'all women, you motherfuckers was mad. Drafted? You motherfuckers was mad. Talking about, hold on, you send me where? I'm going to be useless. But that's a part of you can't have equality in some areas and then not in others. Equality is equality. It's going to be across the board. So that's why you just accept it. And it's not to put you down and say we're better than you, because we're not. We play a certain role in humanity, and you guys play a certain role in humanity. And at the end of the day, I'm sick of hearing this ignorant shit about y'all don't need no man. We need each other. Period. That's just what it is.
And again, let's just I mean, because we're brushing a lot on the equality thing, and we already know, like we've talked about that enough.
Yeah.
But it just as far as having conditions on what brings you love, what men get loved for. Why is that? Why is it that there's so much expectation on things that we are required to do as men, that if we don't do it, we don't receive the same kind of a woman could just be a woman. Feed me, fuck me, shut the fuck up, like Eddie Murphy used to say back in the day in his stand-up comedies, right? Simple things, little things.
Yeah.
And even if they don't do those, guess what? A lot of those women still get love unconditionally.
I believe that the reason that is because we have too many weak ass dudes right now. Weak ass motherfuckers out here who let their money do the talking for them.
We got them soy boy simps, huh?
Soy boys. So you have these chicks that know that they could. I mean, I got some homegirls I know that when they're hungry, they just call a dude and go on a date with him. They got no intention of doing shit with this motherfucker.
Right.
You know, but they know I could call him, lower my voice a little bit, sound a little sexy. He gonna take me out. We gonna go eat. I'm gonna take my ass home. Because again, you got these weak motherfuckers out here that's doing shit like that. Quit it. It's us. I'm gonna take responsibility. We the ones that has fucked the game up. And now the women are the ones in power because you got dudes out here willing to do whatever. Right. These fucking rappers out here talking about, I'm paying your rent. Bitch, I wish I would. I ain't doing that. Right? Fuck what you talking about. Like those are just like I have to bring certain things to the table to get you to go out with me or be my woman. I have to check all those boxes for you to receive compensation by me paying your rent and paying the bills. And yeah, you have to check boxes too.
Right.
Pretty, that ain't good enough. Not in my book.
No.
I mean, it's a million pretty chicks out there.
What are you gonna do when the looks fail?
And you know what?
Eventually, you're gonna get old with somebody. The plan is to try and find that one person that you could grow old with.
And you know what's sad
with,
about
right?
these soy boys out here that are just throwing money? They're so insecure that they don't realize that they're actually the rare one. How many males out here are in the top 2% of income earners? Not that many. But how many pretty girls out there? You go to the grocery store, you go to the Barnes and Nobles, you go anywhere. Yeah. You're gonna see pretty women. Pretty women is a dime a dozen. I'm not knocking you guys. It's just.
And also, why is it that women are allowed to have standards also? Like, oh, you got to be this tall. Oh, you got to make this amount of money. But men can't have those standards or else we're called like misogynistic and shit like that. We have standards,
but they shame us. And not enough men stick up for their standards. Instead, they start tailoring shit because they don't want to be called a certain thing or they don't want to be viewed a certain way. Again, soy boys, because only a weak motherfucker would allow their beliefs and wants to be changed and manipulated because somebody else calls them a name. I don't give a fuck. Right. That's just what it is. Because I got to work for mine. Soon as you turned 18, you was pretty. You had all kind of niggas in your DM.
Shit, you look at society nowadays, a lot of these girls were getting hit on since the second they were 13.
When I turned 18, I didn't have shit in my DMs. Well, like, I had to work for mine. I had to really get out there, grind, sweat, save, invest, et cetera, and et cetera.
Unless you were rich, you weren't having women just randomly hitting you up all the time.
So, yeah, I got standards.
That wasn't the thing.
As everybody should. There's nothing wrong with having standards. So stop allowing these folks to tell you that having standards as a man is bad. Or they call you shallow because you like, no, I want a girl like this. Or they call you misogynistic because you like, I want my girl to cook and clean.
So long as your standards are of a realistic expectation. Like you can't sit here and be like a 300-pound fat fuck, lazy on his ass, living in his mama's basement and expect a supermodel to just fucking fall on your lap and say I love you.
I
Like
I don't agree with you. You can expect it. It just ain't gonna happen. That's the realistic part.
Well,
you could sit in the basement all day playing video games and eating hot Cheetos. And you could say you want the baddest chick in the universe. That's okay for you to want that. But being realistic, you're just not gonna get that.
okay, so
You have to put in that work to get that type of woman, because that type of woman has expectations.
well, that's what I'm saying.
yeah. So
Like, just be willing to actually work for what you want.
be willing. You have to. As a man, you have no. As a man, you don't have a choice.
And it brings things full circle. If we don't work for what we want and we are not doing what we need to do to get what we want, we are not going to get that unconditional love.
I don't know.
There's no such
And-
thing. We're going to get loved because we are doing the things we're supposed to do as a man.
Yes.
Because we are working towards the shit.
Yep.
Because we are actually busting our asses on a daily basis, mentally, physically, emotionally, just trying to make sure that we have what we need to satisfy.
I'm sure you can attest to this. I'm sure you have been somewhere, whether it's the mall or the fight you went to yesterday, or somewhere, right? And you seen a couple and you were just looking like, the chick, she a quarter piece. You just looking, and the dude is like probably fat,
We saw a couple of that.
and you looking like, this ain't adding up.
The math ain't mathing.
Yeah.
What is this?
But that's because each sex's value is different.
Right.
Man's value is what he brings to provide. That's what it's based off of. A woman's value is her beauty, number one. Like how many bodies she didn't catch. If she a hoe,
what she thinks she's giving you.
Yes. So that's why you can see something like that and be like, the math ain't mathing. But that's because we don't know the inside. Most likely he's providing, a certain lifestyle, and he's checking most boxes, probably not all. But for us, that don't work. Like, that's just how it is. It's biology, dog. It really is. If you really look deep, dug down, and did your research and look back, it's been that way for a long time.
Yeah.
Even back to the kings and queens and shit.
Monarchies and shit. Yeah.
Like a lot of queens wasn't shit.
They was just
became the queen.
They had one requirement: get the dick hard and provide heirs.
She became the queen because he chose
most of them.
Yeah, she became the queen because he chose her. And most of the time, what did she have? What qualities did she have? She was young.
Well,
she was beautiful. She didn't have children.
Back then, it didn't even matter with young. When it came to those time periods, it was a matter of what strengthened the country as well. What strengthened someone's power. So, I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch.
That's
I get what you're saying, though.
Families together, yeah.
But yeah. The main moral of the story is, men, there is no such thing as unconditional love. Everything that we do, we have to work for, and is based on condition. And my advice would be, fuck it. Don't change that. Keep doing what you're supposed to do as a man. Get love when you can. And when you can't, learn to count your losses and move on.
Yeah. Don't be a soy boy.
Yeah.
With that shit.
Yeah, don't be a soy boy. Please.
Yeah, that shit ain't helping.
And if you guys have some examples that you'd like to share, go ahead and leave them in the comments. And as always, subscribe, share, and show that you care.